It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day and day 2 in San Carlos. And for those of you up in Northern California, don't get too excited. Not your San Carlos, the San Diego County San Carlos. Okay, all right. For starters, look at this. Okay, this isn't bad, right? It's okay, but okay isn't going to cut it in this garden. This is the most fabulous, magical, intimate space. Terry said it best yesterday. She said it's like this is a fairy garden and we're the fairies in it. So everything can be a little over the top and extra in this garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repurpose all of these plants, and I'm going to plant this blue Pilosocereus in that Talavera Vera pot with Creva and blue fireglass. I know. Okay, also I completely overdid it with the plants. These are not all going to be going in this garden, but I really did want to bring as big a selection as I could possibly muster so that we could kind of more or less bring the nursery to us. We have restaged the Adirondack chair. I told you that Greg had sanded and repainted some of the furniture, and this is the chair that was here that you haven't got to see yet. Also, we repainted and completely replanted the picture frame verticals, which are hanging on the fence. They turned out beautiful. I have Mel right below you doing a really, really gorgeous, tight, compact presentation of plants. This is a work in progress. Again, you know, these planting areas in this tiny garden are going to be really, really tight. We can do that because this is a very, very small space. So maintaining it on a regular basis is not going to be a big deal at all. I would say that we might maybe have 150 square feet in this yard, so we can go crazy. Now, Terry is over here underplanting the Petalanthus and the Argentea that we talked about yesterday. Another thing that I wanted to point out about this jade that I didn't mention, or actually point out about this garden, very interesting microclimatically here where Karen lives is in the winter when we go out of daylight savings and we fall back. This garden is in shade pretty much all day long. So it's really important that we turn the irrigation way down. What was happening is this garden was getting a little too wet, and I noticed that the jade were turning yellow. The leaves, yellow like not in a good way yellow. The bottom leaves were turning kind of yellow and falling off like this. That is indicative of the possibility of the plant getting too much to drink. Very, very verdant green. Remember, this is a plant that typically will color up and should color up at this time of year. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like this. You know, and clearly it doesn't. So with this yellowing of the underleaf and the falling off of the leaves, I determined after digging around in the soil too that it really was quite damp. So that's something to think about. If you're watering your garden and you're finding that the plants are looking stressed, if leaves are falling off, if they're getting a little mushy, chances are very good that your ground is too wet and you need to dial it back. Check out this pot that Terry and Mel did yesterday. Is that spectacular or what? So I bought this green pot at Planter Paradise when I did the installation originally, and we just had, you know, the usual suspects in here, and I was so inspired this time to do a Euphorbia trigona, and the Euphorbia trigona is green and purple. So I pulled and had Terry and Mel pull plants from my inventory that had the same colorations. This is really a celebration of purple and green. We have the Echeveria Harmsii ruby slippers. I've got a big Incantata Echeveria here. We've got the little Crassula platyphylla and some cotyledon chalk fingers that are purple, and a little neon breakers. So this is just absolutely gorge. Then, you know, Greg foamed up the waterfall. You saw that yesterday. And I pulled the big chunky glass that was in this waterfall. It was all discolored from the hard water. So I took it home and I put it in a bucket of vinegar water overnight, and it just cleaned it right up. It's just popping right now. The plants that you see behind the waterfall are cuttings that we took from the garden when we dismantled it. The black that you see against the fence is waterproofing. So we have not shoved dirt right up against the fence without first protecting it with a waterproof coating. So today the goal is to get this garden all planted out. We're going to do something really fabulous in here in this raised bed. So you remember when I said that, oh, I brought way more plants than we'll ever use. We're not done. And yeah, so I'll be surprised if I end up taking any plants home. We are having so much fun today. Let's just take a peeky-poo at the progress. Got my Martillo cactus planted. This gazing ball has sentimental value for the client. So I was really happy to be able to pull that in. Mel planted out this tight little pocket garden here. We have another little sentimental art piece. Oh, and while you're at it, Han, sit down. Yeah, sit in that chair so you can show people the perspective from there. This is another sentimental piece of the client's, this crock, which I'm really happy with right there. Hannah had a really great idea to put fiberglass in the little bird bath. Remember, this is a fairy garden. This is supposed to be blingy, blingy, blingy. It is so small. And then I anchored the water, the little fountain, or the little bird bath with these fabulous succulents. We staged our surprise out of the box. All of you that guessed Talavera Ball were right. And there it is in all its glory. Terry and Hannah worked on finishing up getting the waterfall planted out. That looks fantastic. Remember, we still have a park bench that Greg is repainting that'll go right here. And we're going to do a beautiful tapestry in this raised bed right here. And then we still have a lot of tightening to do in this area. So we still have a lot to do, but I just wanted to kind of give you an update. Okay, so we are about to wrap it up for today. I do believe that I've got all the planting done that I want to do. We're going to be coming in on Saturday with the rock and the wet look. So by going over these stones today and getting some of the dirt off, that's going to be really helpful on Saturday. Going to give them a chance to dry before we wet look. But yeah, so much progress. It is just so tight and so fantastic. You can see here that I added a little tapestry of plants in this raised bed that used to be home to some herbs and vegetables. Most of those plants that you see in there are cuttings that were in other parts of the garden, and, I wanted to repurpose them. So the only thing that we have left to do is bring the bench in to put over here on these two big flagstones. It's just amazing what tidying can do for a garden. Oh my gosh. Case in point, look at that ribbon that Terry tidied up over there by the concrete pot. I mean, this was kind of messy and the rock was kind of scattered, and oh wow. I mean, just that is absolutely awe-inspiring, isn't it? And we got all this done, along the edge of the waterfall, and we tightened it all up with some rock. This rock, if you're interested, this river rock is called Sonora Shiners. It is very expensive, but as you can see, it's also really, really pretty. And if you're working in a small space like this, you can theoretically go with more expensive rock because you don't need as much of it. This little redbud tree has got like 8 leaves left on it, but it'll come out in pink, beautiful snowy pink blossoms in the springtime. And this Chinese fringe will be all white flowers. So it's really, really pretty. Yeah, I'm super excited to do my final staging. Oh, over here, Mel did the strawberry barrel. That looks really, really cool, like a great big pineapple over there in that corner. Yeah, we got our little Pilosocereus planted in the pot in the corner. That's just the perfect, if you're looking for a beautiful statement plant, a cactus is such a great idea because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to water or fuss with it. She can just leave that alone and enjoy it. So, that's it for today. I hope you have all been sufficiently inspired. This is Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with Terry, Hannah, and Mel, and Greg in San Carlos with your succulent tip of the day. See you Saturday.